You know, I'm actually going to buckle in, just in case. Okay, right.
Great.
We're now ready.
We're here to talk Robot Wars.
It's like we promised all those months ago.
My name is Ian.
My name is still Sandy.
Sandy, let's talk Robot Wars.
Oh man,
but before we talk Robot Wars, what are your credentials in the world of robots? Are you some sort of engineer?
Hi, I'm Sandy, guys, and I've been a Robot Wars addict for 9 years now.
My name's Ian. I'm an engineer. Unfortunately, I'm a civil engineer, so I have no idea how they work. But I fucking love the show, man.
Side note on this, the experts they called in, I found were dubious.
Do you mean the judges?
Yeah.
Oh, what's wrong with the judges?
Oh, they were great guys, and they evidently knew a lot about science and shit. But
right.
I found it worrying that in a robot competition about remote control fighting machines, they brought in an expert on artificial intelligence, which makes me trepidatious for the future of the sport.
This is taking a dark turn already.
Yeah, while I love the idea of robot remote control combat, it worries me that we're already starting to breach into the self-aware robots fighting. The BBC shouldn't condone that, and I don't want my tax-paying dollars to subsidise sentient murder.
Thanks for that, Sandy.
It's all rise from here, guys.
All right. So, what was your initial impressions then, Sandy?
My initial impressions was roughly 4, but with about 50 O's and A's. Space between it. Was a solid...
Alternating capitals?
No, it was all consistently capitals, with an
Excellent.
appropriate amount of exclamation marks at the end.
Got it.
So,
Same.
Largely positive. I've got a few talking points. So, cast your mind back to the last time Robot Wars was on the air. Can you recall the presenter of these hallowed TV shows?
Yes, it was my lifetime hero and all-round legend and good guy, Craig Charles.
Great guy, host of the show.
Heart and soul of the show, some may say.
Some would agree, certainly. He would start the show from his podium, where he would address the masses. Contrast this with our new host, Dara O'Brien. Not so much of a showman. He starts his presentation of the show in the arena, no longer a prophet addressing his adoring masses, simply a man. No Robot Wars themed jacket, just a suit.
He looked good.
He looked good.
He wore clothes. Big positive on the BBC.
Do not want my tax dollars to subsidise nudity. That's not on.
Anyway.
But, besides my initial trepidations, let's try and not use that word again. Solid host. I felt he was a bit too dismissive of the losers at times.
Well, you know.
But, you know, some of the robots were pretty naff.
Yeah, and some of them were pretty well beaten, but we'll get to that later. I also noticed the new theme music, which I was actually very sad about, because I love the Robot theme.
I was waiting for the original theme to come back.
I love the Robot Wars theme. Even just a remaster would have been nice, but it was completely different. I was like, I mean, I'll probably grow to like it, but yeah, you know, whatever. You can't have them all. Can't have them all. Also, I've written here in my notes, death to CRT monitors. If you remember in the opening, they're like showing a montage of the series.
Yeah.
And there's a robot with some sort of spinning disc on the back reversing into a CRT computer monitor. We've also got a new logo. I'm just powering through the notes here. New logo, which looks good. Thumbs up. Did you spot early on the Sir Killalot is Bay fan sign? Don't worry, man. It'll be in the video.
You didn't notice that, but there was a quick double head take from me there. Because that's usually the kind of thing I'm keyed into.
So, as Dara welcomed us in, he gave us the stats on our new arena.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Vastly different. Much less yellow and black than I was hoping. But maybe Behemoth would have had a camouflage advantage. So maybe they'll change that week on week. We can only hope.
Spoilers.
So he told us it was a whopping 22 square meters, which, you know, is pretty big. It doesn't come across that way on the telly. It looks quite small.
It looked compact. I actually thought the walls, despite being raised, didn't look big enough.
Nope, but they were 7 meters high.
7 meters high?
Yep.
Huh.
With some snazzy bulletproof glass.
Yeah, that was definitely required.
Also, lasers. And I've also written
There was
here, pew, pew, pew.
a huge amount of lasers, and I thought, wow, that is distracting on the TV, never mind in real life. Hopefully those were a post-production thing.
Probably not. Probably not.
I hope
Probably
the fans
like
enjoyed that.
one of those techno rave concerts that we attend all the time.
Can't get enough of those.
Dara also mentioned that some of the contestants had spent about 25 grand on some
I
of the
noticed that
robots.
and I went,
And
I hope it wasn't nuts.
I heard that and immediately laughed. I don't know if you remember the robot Mortis from Cambridge University.
Tell me more, man.
Possibly the most expensive robot ever on Robot Wars.
Was he proportionately successful?
Yes.
Lovely.
Yep. I can't remember the exact stats of Mortis, but the fact that you haven't heard him should say enough.
That says a lot. There's really only enough space in my brain for 5 non-house robots.
Fair enough, man.
And most of them are proportionally the ones that caught fire the most. R.I.P. Dietor.
Dietor.
More on him later.
Speaking of catching fire, should we have a silent moment for Sergeant Bash?
R.I.P. man.
The
Go
pain.
on, but not forgotten,
Also,
even though you are objectively and subjectively the weakest of the house robots.
Categorically. However, we also need to have a quick mention for Refbot, Growler, Cassius Chrome, and Mr. Psycho, who also didn't make it into the reboot. That said, the new Sir Kilobot, Matilda, Shunt, and Dead Metal look bad.
They are so good, and they performed so well. Metal did something. Dead Metal did something.
And he looked great at the same time.
Did.
He's a scorpion, a big shiny scorpion.
With a lot of rumps in that saw. But just side note, rumps are our colloquialisation of revs per minute. Just if that didn't come across.
Thank you, Sandy.
We'll be doing that a lot.
Thank you. Also, I noticed in a brief montage of the house robots that Matilda threw a robot like over the low sections of the barrier, which is good because I thought that flipping a robot out of the arena with these 7-meter high walls would be impossible. But clearly you can still win in that way, which is great. That's all my initial points from the first 5 or 10 minutes of the show.
I'd actually like to make a quick apology on behalf of my rants throughout my watching of the first episode. So I like to think of myself as a pretty laid-back guy. This was not the case when I watched Robot Wars.
Not when it comes to Robot Wars.
And I saw the spectacle of the robot nuts.
Were you offended by nuts in some way?
I just thought, maybe if Tornado... No, stop confusing Razor and Tornado.
Bro, you cannot do...
They're drastically different robots.
Different and,
they're both really good robots, but in different ways.
Yeah, and you can't like both either.
No. No, you can't.
That's a false dichotomy, by the way. You can like both, but don't do it.
So, nuts. I may have used the phrase, they're a disgrace to the sport.
Holy hell, that's strong.
Maybe it might have been because they took the place of objectively better robots.
Well, we haven't seen all the contestants yet.
I've seen enough, roughly.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to bash on them too hard. I mean,
no, I didn't.
Enter.
But here's the thing. Around about halfway through, I heard the guys. They're doing the robot thing. Their bot, bless it for trying, fall into pieces. It's suffering a warrior's death, and they're just sitting there, guys, having fun, and they're screaming, "This is so much fun!" And I went, Sanda, you forgot the true meaning of Christmas. You left behind what it's about. You've been in cold, hard brass taxes, win at all costs Robot Wars. And Craig Charles, that wasn't what he endorsed. It's about having a good time with your buddies and creating some cool stuff.
Don't forget about the glory of victory, though.
The glory of victory is great.
While I like the message you're putting out here, the glory of victory.
I mean, what is it the judges judge on? It's damage, control, and aggression. No account for fun there. That's what the fans are for.
Indeed.
I saw them wheeling nuts out, held together by duct tape, rust, and a little bit of wishful thinking. And I thought, bless them for trying.
Bless them for trying.
Good on him. Good on him, guys. I hope they had a grand old time.
Bless them all for trying. How about a quick rundown of all the robots competing? Oh, by the way, what was your reaction when you found out Razor was in episode 1? I nearly lost my mind.
I thought it was a strong start. They pulled out 2 of my favourites, Razor and Behemoth.
Behemoth.
It's It's still contested.
They're all right. They're all correct.
They're all correct, but
apart from Behemoth.
Jonathan Pierce uses Behemoth.
Behemoth is the wrong one.
Look, if the commentator...
You can have Behemoth, or you can have Behemoth, but you can't have Behemoth.
I'm sorry, man. Dara might support you, and this is one of my initial talking points. I've underlined this one. They announce him Behemoth, and I thought,
they've
cool.
got it right.
Finally, we've cleared it up after nearly a decade of wondering. Behemoth, the robot from Hill Hempstead.
I already knew it.
Lovely. And then straight away, we go into the second match of the day. We're announcing the robots from Hill Hempstead, Behemoth. I'm like, God damn it. God, did they not check when we started the episode?
Is Behemoth not a real word? I thought it was.
Behemoth was the word I was raised on back in primary school when they were teaching us how to do words good and when to use them. Not once was Behemoth used. But when Jonathan fucking Pierce comes out and says Behemoth,
time and again,
he's the authority on how to say robots' names.
I suppose.
And I'm going to support
him. What we really
him.
need is the team to pronounce their robot's name.
But that's the thing, they're sworn to silence.
They're not, though. I'm pretty sure they say, this is our robot, Behemoth.
Have you ever heard the other two say one word?
This is true. Anthony does do most of the talking.
He's the face man. It's a cracking face as well.
Wow.
He hasn't aged a day.
He actually hasn't. How did he do it?
They were suspended in the BBC vaults, along with all of our episodes of Doctor Who that we haven't discovered yet.
That's interesting. Anyway, so along with Razor, we also had former contestant Terror Hearts, whose moment of glory came in season 6 when they were a grand finalist, who were actually beaten by Razor in the end. Rounding out Group 1, we had Killy Cranky, who I felt like I should have been supporting because they were Scottish.
Yeah.
But because I didn't like the design of the robot.
It was a horrible design.
Yeah, because I didn't like the design of the robot, I was like, you're going to lose.
Finally, I found a robot that was more annoyingly designed than Pussycat.
Fair enough.
Pussycat had the defense of having a really powerful saw.
And also being a great robot.
It was a great robot, and it was aggressive as hell.
Oh, yeah.
Mainly because I don't know if the Roboteers could actually control the damn thing.
Yes, they could. They were brilliant, and they meant all of it.
Damn. Okay.
I quite like Pussycat. So that rounds out Group 1. Group 2, we've already mentioned Behemoth. Our personal fave. He's been around since Series 2.
It was like Jonathan Pierce wanted to say it is, let me have a look on my most experienced robot in history.
Yep.
Not just in Robot Wars history. In all the history of man, there has never been a better robot than Behemoth. You can quote me on that.
Completely irrefutable. And also the other three in that little round of 4, Bonk. Yep.
Bonk.
The General and Carbide, who we'll definitely be talking about.
We will be talking about Carbide.
Although I have something to say about Carbide, which is they are Robot Wars veterans. They're not newcomers.
Yeah, I think they are.
I didn't research what teams they used to be on, but they are Robot Wars veterans.
The driver of Carbide used to roll with one of the crew from Terror Hearts, I think. I think they might be related.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
So I'm going to briefly run over the format of the show because I've written it down and why not.
We figured out a format for this show?
Do we have a name yet? The format for the Robot Wars show.
Nice.
So at first we had 2 4-man brawls, or 4 robot brawls. 21st century, and get yourself together.
Hey, if they want to be identified as people, I'm not going to stop them.
Alright, fair enough.
Maybe that's why they brought in the artificial intelligence expert. Just to have an accurate judge on when they achieved sentience.
I'm going to mull that over while I read out the rest of my information.
Please do.
So the 4-man brawl, 2 go through, 2 go out. So at the end of all that, you've got 4 eliminated. Then we go into the head-to-heads, more commonly known as a round robin, where you fight everyone.
I remember that from Core PE.
Good job.
Nice. 3
points for a KO, 2 points for a judge's decision, 0 points for any loss. Which might be a bit harsh. I think you should maybe get a consolation point if you take it to a judge's decision, but we might talk about that more later. And then the top 2 teams go into the heat final. That's a 1v1 battle to get into that final at the end of the series, which is episode 6.
Only 6 episodes?
Only 6 episodes.
Man. I know there's too much of a good thing, but now I understand what Sherlock fans must feel like. Mainly because I am a Sherlock fan.
So how do you feel about this the round robin stage of this, because it used to just be like constant one loss and you were out, one loss and you were out. As we saw in this episode, there was a heroic comeback.
There was a lot of heroic comebacks, mainly because 2 of those robots, at least, had no right to still be going after their first match.
But I quite like the head-to-heads because it kept the more robots on the screen for more of the time.
I'm always a fan of more Behemoth on my TV. And about the judge's decision, maybe if it had been other robots, I might have felt that they were being a little harsh.
Wait, which judge's decision?
Every judge's decision had obviously come down to the other robot was obviously going to beat Nuts eventually. They just hadn't been able to do it in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Nuts didn't deserve any points.
And they didn't get any.
Good, I say.
I suppose.
Lovely guys, but in no universe were they going to come out of them with a win.
Yeah, but in the cutthroat world of Robot Wars. You
live or you die. No, exactly. That's wrong.
Well, they died and they died.
Someone hasn't watched Game of Thrones in a while. Whoops.
Anyway, so I've written about Nuts, the Let's Try Everything bot, with their flails.
This is another thing.
Their outer ring, their cluster bots, and their fancy dress.
It was like someone had asked 10-year-old me what I would put in a robot. And I'd been like, yeah, we'll have a robot, but with lots of other little robots inside that will shoot out and give the third member of our team something to do.
There was 4 of them, man.
Yeah, there was 2 cluster bots. The math was there, just the words weren't. Because I always feel it's a little upsetting when teams give me a run-through of what member does what. There's me, who's the driver. There's my mate, who's the weapons guy.
There's my mate, the strategist.
And there's strategist / technician. I get it, it's your daughter. It's your child who you don't want to trust your 25 grand robot with. Or it's your mate who just can't be trusted with a remote control.
So he's just going to stand there and look good?
Just say he's there. He's a team morale officer.
Do you know what? I wouldn't mind being team morale officer on some Robot Wars team. That'd be awesome.
Any Robot Wars team except Nuts.
Draft me right now. Anyway, so I've got a little note here about the fact that Nuts is a cluster bot. So I'm going to get right into my Robot Wars here.
Go for it, man.
Might lose some of the audience, but I don't care. I would have liked some clarification around the cluster bot rules. In old Robot Wars, you may remember Gemini. Gemini famously lost to Tornado because one of the Gemini robots was knocked out.
Oh.
That was the rules. If one of your cluster bot went out, that was it. The whole entry was counted as gone.
That's
that was
interesting
it. Over.
Because
you lost.
A lot of the cluster bots were just launched a good 20 feet into the air repeatedly.
Yeah.
While entertaining, I thought, why are they here? Yeah. What? Behemoth, stop it. Stop it.
They're not
Focus on the real threat.
Although if they'd thrown them out of the arena, surely that was it. It was over. So you either go for the cluster bots and ignore the big hulking mess in the middle, or it wasn't clear.
Emphasis on mess there.
It wasn't clear.
Is
my point. I would have liked to know what the deal was with cluster bots. Maybe there'll be more in the series and they'll actually talk about what the rules are.
Thankfully, we're all safe from this episode.
True.
No more Nuts.
I've also written a note about Razor here. They had sausage rolls.
In what way?
They had sausage rolls on their team, man. You know how you were saying about, it's just his kid, that's his wife?
Yeah.
Well, Ian Lewis's wife brought sausage rolls.
Sounds like a pretty damn good team morale officer, honestly.
This was my honest reaction. I hope they didn't dominate too much. Because I know who Razor are, you know who Razor are, listeners know who Razor is.
I don't think you should have written that down, man. I didn't want to see world champion Razor go out to one of the most poorly designed robots I've ever seen.
Wow.
He only went into the pit because they had no idea how a robot like that would drive. It had no right to drive.
I've written here that Kelly Cranky is a pole with a wheel at each end.
Wasn't even a straight pole.
Wasn't even a straight pole, and a 500 RPM vertical cutter in the middle. Which is great, except it's in the middle, the cutter, and then you've got the wheels. I'm going to say at least 30 centimetres apart. How are you getting that saw in where you intend it to be and not just next to it?
I gave Nuts a hard time for...
I questioned their manoeuvrability and the effectiveness of their weapon, and I think I might have been right on the money there just by looking at it. And I'm just rounding it out. Team Megahertz with their mighty axe. And their robot...
You mean Terahertz?
What did I say?
You said megahertz.
I meant terahertz.
I know, man. It's okay.
Anyway,
Don't quote us on that.
They've got their mighty axe.
I noted that down because that was a really powerful axe.
And remember when, it deflected a blow from a spanner in the pits? I've written here, bot 1, Angela 0. So, take that.
Best part was, it didn't even need the axe for most of the games.
I know, right? How awesome was that?
It would win without the axe because it was just such a well-designed robot.
Anyway, so I had a go at predicting the first group, which was, I noticed that Razor had a really good matchup against all three of its competitors, and in a 1v1, there's no way it would have lost. With Kelly Cranky...
In any other game.
With Kelly Cranky, as you saw, it just came right over the top, grabbed the entire robot, and dumped it in the pit. They got that a little bit wrong in the show, but if it had been a one-on-one, they'd have won.
Yeah.
With Nuts, they would have caught it by the ring and done exactly the same thing. And with Terahertz didn't look particularly strong from the very top. So I think Razor would have eventually managed to pierce its way in before that axe would have been able to do anything back to Razor. Because Razor's such a smoothly designed robot, you just get glancing blows on it.
Terahertz, it was probably the biggest of the robots.
You mean size-wise?
Yeah.
Right.
It looked weak arms, or armoured.
Maybe that's just because it was see-through.
Yeah, that always worries me. But then again, what was it?
Saved Dara's life. Good enough for him.
Yeah.
That would have been bad if Dara had died.
Imagine.
Filming
It's a good way to go, in fairness.
Suppose, but we wouldn't have had it on the telly. We needed a new presenter.
Not even satisfied with being one of the worst robots I've ever seen. Also saw fit that when it broke apart, to ricochet in such a way that it sent a good 6 inches of metal smashing into the wall right by the announcer's podium. And that's unsportsmanlike.
That's what the bulletproof glass is for.
I went, yeah, they fucking needed that. That's not what you have G4S staff to take a bullet for. Shout out to Andy Mick, who apparently got a ticket to all this. Thanks, buddy.
Did he? Oh.
Yeah.
So that was my prediction, and I stand by it. I think Razor could have beaten any one of those robots, but...
I told myself that, and it helped me get to sleep through the tears after watching it. What do you say to your mum when she asks you how your day was after you've seen Razor go into the pit when he's fighting Killer Cranky?
Yeah.
It's messed up, man.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Oh, I've also written a note here. You know the announcer guy?
Jonathan Pierce?
No, the other guy who's like...
From Hemel Hempstead, Behemoth.
And I'm always going to use them as my example, because I love them. I noted here that he sounded a bit like Davros from Doctor Who. I thought
Did he?
To me, he did.
Okay, I'm going to go and check that one out.
All right. Hopefully some of the audience appreciated my comment there.
We do have a rather large Doctor Who following, which means I listen to all these, and I like Doctor Who.
Me too.
Nice.
Thanks, man.
We should talk about it some more on a different cast.
Nah.
You're right.
I've fallen out of it.
I'm nowhere near as emotionally invested in anything else as with Robot Wars.
I've also written here, in commenting on the first group, when Nuts was demonstrating their flails by spinning in the middle. Now, I am a Robot Wars watching veteran, and it is well documented that flails have no power. They're great for scuffing your opponent, but not for damaging them in any way, because, think about a belt. A belt is a soft thing. As soon as it hits something, it's going to wrap around it and take all the force out of it. So what's the point in a flail? I
think it was their matchup with Behemoth, where at the end of it, teammate who talks said,
"Yep,
well, yeah, it scratched the paint a little."
Right.
I looked at it and went, that's not going to do anything.
This is not good enough.
I found it amusing because when they were in the middle of the ring doing their spinny show, I don't remember, I think it was Terahertz just slammed right into them and they came off the worst.
Yeah, of course they did.
That is, of course, because Terahertz is a living / metal, not living, battering ram.
Oh.
No way anything could have stood up to that. Just knocking Behemoth out of the way, for crying out loud.
It was. As much as it pains me to admit. Oh. But yeah, as we've already touched on, Razor ended up getting itself in a bit of a tangle.
R.I.P.
Killer Cranky did absolutely nothing, and both of them went out. I wrote here again that Nuts' flails look great, but do nothing. And Terahertz's mighty axe looks dangerous. I was predicting perhaps a hammer blow victory at some point. At that point in the I kind of wrote these as I was watching it, so that was my live opinion. It did look dangerous. I mean, I wouldn't like to get in the way of that. It sounded
fucking dangerous.
Not too sure about the sound of it. Sometimes it sounded a bit edited in.
I was worrying about this.
I was a little bit unsure.
It felt like a few things had been touched up in post.
Yeah, but that's what post's for.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of it sounded pretty legit, like Carbide's spinny of death.
See, the thing I thought was posted by Carbide was the sparks.
Maybe.
Those were mental, but it didn't seem to happen after the first fight. They properly brought it out in.
Maybe.
You're
onto something there.
Maybe it was just because I think it was with Terahertz where it was properly starting a fire level.
Mm-hmm.
It might have just been because...
Maybe just the makeup of Terahertz.
Yeah, Terahertz is aluminium and Behemoth was titanium.
Correct.
And I think Nuts was just made of some kind of paper that they'd painted silver. It certainly gave me that impression.
Fair enough.
So watch out for that, guys, if you're going to check it out again. I'd love to hear your feedback on this.
Anywho, I've written here, Dara pronounced Behemoth correctly, as we've already touched. I'm just going to
Except he didn't.
Right, on to the other four, I guess. Behemoth, I was sad that they didn't claim they were invincible. That used to be their thing.
Yeah. I know, I think they mentioned it.
No, they said they had no weaknesses. They didn't claim we're indestructible like they used to, which was awesome.
We're too old for that now.
Yeah.
We've seen enough.
I wrote here, for those unfamiliar with Behemoth, basically it's a black and yellow competition legal shunt. Sans Axe plus free mech.
And
I think that's a fair...
I didn't realise just how powerful the scoop was until it would flip itself using it.
Well, they did also say it could lift a Peugeot 205.
Yeah,
that's a car.
It's really heavy.
Yeah, man. What a great robot.
And it really showed when it took on the little distraction bots from Nuts.
Oh, what a moment that was. What a moment that was. Anywho, and then Carbide, the veterans with a new robot, with their 85 centimetre horizontal spinning blade.
Sweet Jesus, that blade.
Yeah, reaching 2,500 RPM.
That's a lot of rumps.
Runs both ways up too.
I noticed this. Oh, I like intelligently designed robots.
Very important. I've written here, why blade over flywheel, and then probably the weight limit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was right, because it's right up on the weight limit.
Comes in at a clean... Yeah, it is. Spot on.
I knew it. So yeah, I also wrote, don't touch the tip.
Yeah.
Because they said it had the same force as a sniper rifle bullet or something like that.
Yeah, they said it has the same force of a sniper rifle bullet right at the end. I'm like, oh no.
Or something like that.
That doesn't bode well. I noticed this right at the end. Oh, sorry, we're still discussing bots. Right at the end of the second group battle, where Carbide is just ripping into, I think it's the general?
Correct.
Nice.
That's the one that lost its wheel.
Oh, Jonathan Pierce said it, and I don't think it can be stated enough. Don't bring wheels into the arena.
Yep. I made a note of that as well. Jonathan Pierce was like, let me read you what I wrote. Good point, John. Exposed external tires. Not a great plan.
Get that shit wrapped up, man. Safety
Double
first.
bag it. There's no time. Oh.
I was worried. So Carbide is properly ripping into the general.
Oh yeah.
Which Behemoth had rather be. It's debatable.
Behemoth. Let's pronounce it always.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Okay.
Clever listeners will have noticed I've been switching
I haven't
up.
noticed that.
It's okay, man. Nobody ever really listens to me. Don't worry about that. Ha ha. All rise.
Carry on.
And so Behemoth's kind of ripping into the general, and then Carbide just goes, "What's up? I hear you had a spare robot."
Bang.
Behemoth just backs off.
Yes.
And I went, "Oh no." If the scoop of safety can't save you from that fucker.
Yeah.
Oh. My faith in Behemoth has never ceased. But alarm bells were starting to ring there.
Oh, really? I was still in blissful ignorance.
I thought, that scoop doesn't look as big as imposing as it did 10 years ago.
Yeah. We should probably mention Bonk as well. The box on wheels with an axe. Anyway.
There were so many robots that were just set up as cannon fodder for episode 1.
A little bit, but that's how seeding's meant to work.
Yeah.
The strong survive.
The fan favourites come in and they just wreck face for the first episode. And we're like, yeah, we love these robots. I'm so glad Dietor isn't here catching fire.
What do you mean? That would have been awesome.
I'm saving it, man. I'm saving it.
Oh, okay.
Without Sergeant Bash, how would it have been possible?
There's still a flame pit.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I knew it.
Carbide's not even fighting with it, but the sparks it sends off from its saw set Dietor alight in another set.
I mean, as you've previously said, you just look at it funny and it's away. So yeah, I predicted in Group 2, because obviously the only one I recognise there is Behemoth, but I predicted that Behemoth would in some way put the other three on their side, triple elimination. But seriously, Boink is like, I wrote Boink instead of Bonk. Seriously,
that's a Pokemon, I think.
No, that's Spoink.
Oh, yeah.
Bonk is very flippable. Other two newbies, no idea, it's tough to call. But I was really wrong.
I was so wrong
So
about
wrong.
Carbide.
And then General just got absolutely destroyed. I was right about Bonk.
Yeah.
Landed flat on its back. The General just got
robot
powered. Absolutely powered, and we'll never see it again. So, Group 2, would you say that the best bots won?
The best bots definitely won there because they were the only ones standing.
And a hero ascends.
Oh, man. I don't think it can be stated enough, but that spinner.
I know. Good job it didn't break, like they kept saying it was in danger of.
Oh, you mean
after the group they were like saying how it might not be fully serviceable, and they were quite nervous about having it for the next round.
Mm-hmm. I know.
But it was fine.
No, it didn't work properly when they fought Terahertz.
You're completely right. They eventually fixed it.
Yeah.
With glorious consequences.
Yeah, because they tore Behemoth apart.
Oh.
And then Dark came out with, what's all this about your spinner not working? What's the deal, guys? You've been playing us. You've been juicing up on those roids. Because he got his ass handed to him by a Terahertz really quickly.
Agreed.
Comes back in and just rips the scoop right from Behemoth. There's a first initial contact where he hits it at the sparks fly, and I'm like, oh, nice. The scoop of sanctity of Behemoth is holding up. This is going to be okay as long as they handle it intelligently. There's some clever piloting. And then I think by the third contact,
away it went.
I've never seen such a thing, man.
I've never been so shocked.
The dust settled and we're like, what's happened?
Oh, no.
This isn't what we wanted to see.
Anyway.
But it was glorious.
Absolutely. No arguing there.
I might be a Behemoth fanboy till I die, but
you can still respect talent.
That was a feat of engineering right there.
No doubt. No one's going to argue with you about that. I also wrote here that the judges are a bit more visible. I don't know if you remember the old series, they would just kind of decide and that was it.
I wasn't aware they had any screen time in the original seasons.
They had 0 screen time in the original season. So, you know.
One of them even got an interview this time.
2 of them did.
Speak. 2 of them.
Yeah, I believe one of them kind of passed comment, but yeah, and then Sharky later on.
Yeah.
So after all of that, we went into the old head-to-heads.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you remember, when they showed who was fighting, the card, they'd have the robots on a sort of a spinner.
Yes.
Our audience will be able to look at what I put on the screen here.
Sorry for the audio-visual podcast, guys.
Doing our best.
We're in a car.
The robots were slowly spinning, then the name of the robot, and then it was weight, speed, attack, armor, and then, like, bars.
Oh, yes.
Were you a fan of that? Because I certainly wasn't.
No, I thought...
Give me numbers.
This is obviously made up.
Give me numbers.
I don't think you can rank armor on a bar graph.
No.
Particularly not when someone is just rocking around with aluminium as opposed to titanium plates.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, one of them is made for drinks cans, the other is armor.
I think they were probably right, and the best armor was rated highest on the bar graph.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they got that right.
If you know anything about metallic properties, you know what's harder than what. And if not, it's the show's job to explain it. Like, I don't think a bar would be a great idea. So I thought they should maybe revert back to the old way, and they would give you the number of how heavy it was, how fast it was, what its attacks were, and what its armor was, because that used to all be right there. And then it gave you strengths and weaknesses as well.
I mean, in fairness, maybe it's because they had all this stuff already laid out for the group stages. Not that extensively. I think they only had weight, weapon, and defense originally at the group stage. So
maybe, but I mean, it's an hour-long show. You're going to forget things.
Or even if they just brought out some more information. Instead of interviewing the team strategists, we could have got a little bit more team logistics.
Definitely fast-forwarded through that on the third viewing.
Yep.
But that's okay.
Hey, they deserve their screen time. These are modern-day gladiators right here.
Yep.
And their friends.
And I appreciate
it's a spectacle.
Their morale support.
Tune in for another gladiator reference later on, guys. Got this one prepared.
So yeah, we've already touched on Carbide versus Terahertz when the spinner was a bit faulty.
Lackluster.
And I've got to say, terrific driving from Terahertz in that. They were absolutely all over them. and then they ended up in the pits. It was a great drive by Terahertz.
And
at that point, I was thinking, alright, Carbide looks dangerous, but maybe it isn't. Well, we'll go on to see if that was wrong.
3 very strong robots. It's just because they were fighting. I wasn't even going to mention it. Doesn't deserve the mention. Sorry, guys. I know you had a great time. I'm trying not to be the dictator of Robot Wars right now. 3 very strong competitors.
It's a shame one of them had to go.
I enjoyed that there were a lot more matches in the show than usual.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because the episode was twice as long, admittedly. But also, it meant that the robots were very much packed in by the end of it.
I enjoyed it.
I thought it was great.
Lots and lots of warring.
I can't imagine they enjoyed repairing it 5 times in the one show.
Yeah. Ouch. So then we had Behemoth versus Nuts. That was a fairly forgettable fight, apart from Behemoth nearly throwing one of the clusterbots over the wall.
The problem with the matches against Nuts was, with Behemoth, unless they just smack the circuitry out of a robot and it just breaks, you can't really beat it, short of getting it into the pit.
Yep.
And it was the same with Terahertz's fight, because their axe wasn't working.
True.
So it was just 2 battering rams going up against a robot which inexplicably refused to break.
Somehow. Those guys should build cars. They'd never die. Although Behemoth never actually managed to knock out Nuts. It only got 2 points on the judge's decision.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, it didn't matter in the end. But, luckily.
It's because Nuts had no right to get that far.
Luckily.
If that had been Tornado...
Do you mean Tornado or Razor?
I mean, god damn it.
Man.
I'm sorry, Razor and Tornado. Your memories deserve better recognition than this.
You want to take a minute to just compose yourself?
I'm just really upset about it, man.
Okay. But luckily...
At least Spoink didn't go far.
Behemoth won, but they didn't get the max points, which was unfortunate. And then we had a lovely chat with...
However, quick side note there. Was that the episode where Behemoth was absolutely launched by Matilda's sweet new rumps saw?
Yes.
Because, my god.
Yeah, watch out for that.
What a powerful saw.
Yeah, I actually glossed over that in my notes, but I wrote, Behemoth gets launched itself by Matilda's flywheel, and that's left quite a big hole. I'm very insightful sometimes.
The house robots put some dents into it. Sir Killalot was surprisingly subdued.
Yeah.
The most it did was just give Carbide a proper push.
Yeah,
like, get back into the fight, nerd.
Bump.
It was all for naught. Carbide was properly dead at that point.
But yeah, that was a big hit from Matilda. I'm glad you said that, because I nearly glossed over it.
There was a lot of naysaying from Matilda when she was one of the robots that made the cut for the new season, but...
Do you know what?
Good call.
I've always liked Matilda. I especially like that her flywheel goes up, so that it has the capacity to send people flying.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dead Metal's goes down the way, which isn't as spectacular, but it makes sense for Dead Metal. Mm-hmm. And competitors' robots, usually they run both way up, so it doesn't matter. But I really like that Matilda can send them flying. It's just a shame it was Behemoth and not Nuts in that particular fight. Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, Dead Metals makes a lot more sense because the pincers are coming in to trap it as well, which I like. It's very thematic.
It's a scorpion of a robot.
Whereas Matilda Triceratops, it just makes much more sense that her saw flips.
Yeah.
Just like a real dinosaur.
Anyway, then we had a nice chat with Judge Noel Sharkey when he was talking about the teenagers.
Was he Whitebeard Man?
Yeah, when he was talking about smacking teenagers out of the way.
We've all been there.
I only bring this up so that I can also bring up the video on the YouTube's Humans Need Not Apply.
Uh-huh.
It reminded me of that. If you've not seen that, Humans Need Not Apply by CGP Grey. It's about how we're all not going to have jobs.
Well, that is worrying for me, particularly as I'm unemployed at the best of times.
Wow. Sorry, man, it's not going to get any easier.
Thanks, capitalism.
Damn it. Anyway, so then we had our fight between Terahertz and Behemoth.
It was a good fight.
I've written here, is that axe fixed?
I don't believe so.
And if it is...
Didn't matter.
If it is, try to do a wee bit of insight here. Well, the height of Behemoth, because Behemoth has quite a tall robot, perhaps lessen the impact of it. You know, because it's got less time to accelerate as it swings over.
But I can't imagine Behemoth being that well armoured in the top either.
No, me neither.
Nothing's ever going to reach it.
Who knows?
It doesn't even matter.
We didn't find out.
Solid victory for Behemoth.
Definitely. I can't ignore my love for Behemoth, but this match could come down to a little bit of luck or a little moment of skill.
It was piloting at the end of the day that got it because, like I said,
And the lack of axe.
Lack of axe definitely helped. Terahertz is just perfectly shaped to batter.
To just bash people. Yeah, I wrote, still no Terahertz axe, but they're shoving Behemoth around easily.
Which is not something you want to see when you're a Behemoth fan.
Nope.
But
I was
you expect them to be the biggest robot about, and then it strolls in at the opening sequence, and I think, that's not as big as I remember.
And I wrote at the end, no axe means no self-writing, and it's a knockout win for Behemoth. I'm like, yes!
That's scoop.
I wrote up to 5 total and looking good for the final.
Mm-hmm.
I was right. Yes.
The problem was Carbide was also looking pretty good at that stage.
Well, in the next fight, it started to look a lot better for Carbide, because next up, Carbide had nuts.
Oh, you mean Cannon Fodder Bot?
Cannon Fodder Bot, indeed.
Thanks for repeating what I said about pronouncing it correctly. I really appreciate that.
No problem.
I was worried.
I wrote, you may remember the Team Nuts were talking about how maybe their flails could get tangled up in Carbide. And I've written, even if Carbide's weapon gets tangled up in Nuts' chains, it has much better pushing power. I wrote, can Carbide get max points and put themselves back on terms?
Absolutely.
On terms with Terahertz. And they absolutely did.
No question.
After 2 hits, I counted them, that outer ring was gone. And then I think it was the next couple of hits, and then the wheel was off, and it was over. It was absolute devastation, the likes of which we haven't seen since Hypnodisc.
It is a
in
testament.
Heat H of whatever series that was. I think it was 3.
Who were they fighting against?
No Name Robots. They never came back. They were destroyed.
They were knocked out of this universe.
H, Series 3. It was a bloodbath, that's what I wrote.
Nuts had no right to come back from that match.
Nope. But they did.
How did they come back? More importantly, how did they function? The wheels were not wheels by the end of it. They were octagons.
The nerds united to fix Nuts. That's what I wrote.
Yeah, I really like that part of it. The camaraderie of Robo Wars.
Yeah,
every team kind of chipped in a little bit.
At the end of the day, you're just a whole lot of guys.
We're a family.
Having a good time fighting robots.
That's what it's
and if you can't fight your robot, good news. We're all robot experts. We're going to fix this shit, and you're going to get back in the ring. But not before Carbide takes on Behemoth.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Alright, I'm suddenly worrying about Behemoth.
I was definitely worried about Behemoth, though.
Although, in the back of my mind, I remembered Extreme Series 1.
It's a fine match.
When they took on Hypnodisc and won. So I'm like, do you know what? I think all bets are off here. This could go either way.
That Scoop's seen off some pretty tough threats in the past. We're going to be okay.
Yep.
We were not okay.
No. I wrote, in fact, that was quite a short match.
It was a very short match.
To the point where I don't have any comments. It's just a roundup at the end.
3 or 4 hits max.
It's quite long.
Don't comment on that.
You mind if I just power through this?
Go for it, man.
So I noticed that Behemoth were trying to do what Terahertz were doing and hound Carbide so they couldn't get their disc up. But they kept bouncing off.
The pile-in could have been better there.
They kept bouncing off of that spinning though, which gave it enough time to get back up to speed, and they couldn't hound it in the same way that Terahertz did. And at the end of the day, that force of the blade and perhaps a mistimed scoop fire saw Behemoth on its back, and then it got pretty much done in at that point. Once it flipped up on its back, its scoop was detached and it was lying flat on its back. Credit where credit's due though, the speed at which Carbide came round and reversed it into the pit was sensational. They dispatched them like that when they were vulnerable. It was great driving, and there we go. They won by KO, and they're now at 6 points in the lead.
Oh, man, that was a
good display. It was a great display by Carbide. It's all well and good beating the rubbish robot.
Yeah.
But beating a good robot and one that I like, and it pains me to see it lose, I've got to respect it, you know. And then I've wrote here, Behemoth is in danger of elimination if Terahertz won by KO against Nuts.
I thought that was it for us.
I was very nervous.
I never wanted Nuts to succeed, but I also didn't want
Behemoth to fail. It's a difficult place to be, man.
I found myself torn, just like Nuts were.
I thought you were going to say like Natalie and Brulia. And then the final head-to-head, Terahertz versus Nuts. I wrote here, KO or bust for Terahertz, and an exciting fight ahead. And Nuts' ring is off almost immediately with a couple of axe blows.
I liked how even defeated, it still had the gall to annoy me by slowing down Terahertz.
Yeah. with that ring.
That ring got stuck, and I went,
the flail got wrapped like.
you have no right to be alive.
Was it round the wheel or whatever?
I think it was round the wheel.
But terahertz was not at all impeded by that, which I thought was pretty cool.
At one point,
they just kept going as if it wasn't there.
At one point, they even managed to hit Nuts with the ring.
Yeah, I like that. A little
that's
smack in the face. Get out of here. It was great.
Stop messing with the big boys.
Although, I've got to say, I've got to be a little bit critical of terahertz here.
Mm-hmm. That they should have won.
They should have won, but they should have went for the pit button immediately, just to have a chance of putting Nuts in it. Nuts, in fact, ended up pressing the pit button.
And I thought that was ambitious of them.
With about a minute to go, if I was the terahertz team or driver, I would have hit it immediately and then just see where it went from there. You've done all you could. The strategy is get it in the pit. Because you know that axe is good, but it's not pointy. It's more of a hammer than a proper axe. So you might be able to batter it a little bit, but I've got to criticise them for not going for the pit sooner.
I can understand why
Nuts
they don't do
it. I wrote under here, Nuts so close to going into the pit, because you may remember it was tottering on the edge at one point, but it managed to struggle away. And as it struggled away, so did terahertz chances of reaching the final.
I think collectively the community was just so shocked about Razor's defeat that they just shied away from it completely.
I'm still not over it.
If it can happen to Fake Tornado, it can happen to anyone.
Fake Tornado?
Don't take it personally, guys.
I'm so confused. Anyway, so terahertz were never in danger, but they only got the 2 points.
There was no way they were going to lose, which annoyed me, because that was the problem with Behemoth and terahertz. They couldn't break it quickly enough. Yeah. Because they're just not equipped to do that.
Do you know, actually, now that you say that, the only people... Yeah, Carbide was the only one that beat Nuts. That's annoying.
It is.
That is annoying. Damn. Oh well.
Which is why, at times, I feel like 3 minutes is not enough for the rounds.
I think they edit them down quite a lot, though. There's no way they're on the screen for 3 minutes. Anywho.
Alas.
It all went from there. Dara did drop the bombshell that in the event of a tie, I thought we were going to get a rematch.
I was disappointed we didn't get a rematch.
I thought we were going to get a rematch, and then they were like, nah, head-to-head record, mate. Behemoth goes through. I was like, do you know what? I don't give a shit. Behemoth is through.
That's fine.
That's through.
It's the people's champ. They give us what we want.
Which is results followed by disappointment, apparently. And then that heat final.
I was deeply concerned.
As was I. The first time, I was naive. The second time, I was like, right.
Oh no.
Okie doke. Carbide put in like a really big hit quite early on, and Behemoth just kind of stopped.
It was immediately, and you've been waiting for this, guys.
Shit.
It was like in Gladiator, where they're both rising into the arena, and then Commodus comes up and stabs Maximus, and then puts on his armor before the fight. It felt like that. Both of those robots were kind of on their last legs. It did not take long to incapacitate Behemoth.
Nope.
But also, it looked like towards the end of it, Carbide's saw was done.
It done all it had to, though.
I don't know whether it was just they switched it off, but it was not spinning towards the end of it. I was deeply concerned. Behemoth, you were so close. If the saw is done, your victory is assured.
Yeah. Damn.
No amount of needing to self-right yourself because you're a 2D monster. But Victor crumbed it.
So Behemoth didn't really recover from that first hit.
Behemoth.
I noticed they were just going in circles.
I think at least
at the end, and then I don't know if they meant to drive backwards into the pit because it was already over, or if they kind of got a bit mixed up with the controls. But at the end of the day, Behemoth was in the pit.
The pilot's words were, "We meant to drive left, but we ended up going right." No,
not a good sign.
Not sure how that translated into going directly backwards. Dara kind of shushed them on at that point, which I thought was a bit upsetting because I kind of wanted a bit more feedback on the end fight. Maybe I wouldn't have cared if it had been another robot, but
I think it's just your prejudice for Behemoth there.
I thought you were going to say my prejudice against bald people. That's well documented. What? I meant my prejudice against Dara.
Anyway, Carbide through to the final. Undisputed.
You know what? It deserves it. It was a damn good robot.
I would have liked to see it fight Razor, and I think Razor would have beat it. We've got a theory this because we're probably not going to see it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Razor always does well against robots with exposed tires. See Tornado. The first couple of fights with Tornado and Razor just goes right in for the wheel, punctures the tire, and it's over.
I worry because...
But the power of that spinner.
The power
Razor
of
and
that spinner.
Hypnodisc never fought, so we don't know what a spinner can do against it.
I imagine it being just shot off the second the spinner makes contact, because it's shown that it will do that to any robot now.
True.
I don't think anything short of a house robot is going to walk away from that. And even then,
Yeah.
I'm sure 750 kilogram Sir Killalot would shrug it off, but...
Well, I mean, not if you hit him in the track. Do you think that his tracks could not take that hit? There's no way.
The game's changed, man. The house robots are not... I mean, sure, they were looking very strong, but this is only episode 1. It can only get scarier from here.
Do you think Carbide can go on and win it? I mean, I know we've not seen the rest of them.
I have no idea who's coming on, but I don't think anything is going to come up that will have the armour or the speed necessary to take that out. Unless they bring in Hypnodisc.
We can hope.
Unless they bring in just a hunk of granite and they
Fair
just
point.
put it there and it wins by default.
It could break down and let us all down.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That would suck.
Mechanical failures providing. Carbide is looking very strong.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Sandy, I've got a few more questions here.
As do I.
What was your fight of the night? Would you like me to talk you through mine?
Give me a rundown, because a lot of the fights I thought I would enjoy ended very quickly.
That's fair.
Mm.
It was definitely a Terahertz fight.
Terahertz was on point. They were probably the best piloting.
No question, and I can appreciate some good piloting.
Anyone can just have a spinner.
I'm going to give it to Terahertz against Carbide, actually, as fight of the night. Just for that display of driving alone.
Mm.
Which leaves it wide open for you to pick any of the other ones.
Oh, nice. Well, we can rule out anything with nuts.
Fair enough.
Which cuts up about half of the show, unfortunately. Just on an emotional impact scale, it's the first fight between Carbide and Behemoth.
Ah, yeah.
When that spinner hit and I thought, no,
there's nothing I can do. This is already filmed.
The game has changed. I'm not a kid anymore. My heroes can't survive in this flashy new age world.
These comic book heroes, man. You're too used to the guys you want them to win.
But enough about Civil War.
So, Sandy, I've also got here best moment. And for me, it's when Carbide tore Nuts' wheel clean off. In one fell swoop. Ping! And it just went.
Just
cool
anytime Carbide made contact with something. This is another contender for a great match. When Carbide hit Nuts and shot him about 6 feet straight into the pit release button.
That was sweet as well.
That was
a
beautiful moment. I enjoyed that a great deal.
And also when the General's wheel came off and it just spun and spun and spun and flew down the other end. That was awesome.
That was fine, because those were just cannon fodder robots, but it was still like, whoa!
Everyone loves big hits.
Mm.
And that's it. That's all my questions. Fire away, Sandy.
So I've got Behemoth fans as we are. Now that Behemoth has been taken out of the game, whose bandwagon are you going to jump on now? We don't know which robots are coming back for the rest of the season, but give me someone you hope comes back.
Panic Attack.
Panic Attack?
No hesitation. That's my next. If I see them, I'm latching onto them. Season 2 champs. Perennial favourite. Straight out of Wales.
How do you think they're going to have improved, hypothetically, if they come back in the 10 years they've been
Well, I mean, the main strength of Panic Attack was never the robot. It was always the driver, Kim.
Nice.
Kim Davis, I think his name is.
Mm-hmm.
He was always an absolute monster. The way he would just dodge attacks, run around the back, scoop them up, put them on top of the robot himself, and then throw them in the pit was masterful sometimes.
And that's the thing. I think with the level of power some of the weapons are hitting out with this season, driving is going to become so much more important.
It's always been important, man.
But it's going to be so much more. It's going to be you will be torn apart in the first 10 seconds.
If you're not careful, yeah. So I would 100% bandwagon Panic Attack if I saw it again. What about you? Who are you hoping to see?
So I might have alluded to this earlier, but...
Is it Hypnodisc?
It's not Hypnodisc, although I will be very excited to see him come back. Oh. Tell me, which house robots have not made it back this season?
Is it Sergeant Bash?
Sergeant Bash. What was Sergeant Bash's weapon?
It was a flamethrower.
Tell me what robot is going to benefit the most from having no flamethrower on display this season.
Is it Millie Ann Bug?
I've no idea who that is.
That's one for the Day One fans. Is it Dietor?
It's Dietor.
I knew it.
There's no fire. It's his game to win now. Also because I really want to see the sparks from Carbide just light it. Just
That would be
light it
awesome.
up. Because...
So not because you want Dietor to win.
Not because I want Dietor to win. I want to see him destroyed
Aw.
in the most apocalyptic way possible.
Fair enough.
Dietor has no armour whatsoever. So
Not really, no.
if Carbide comes up to it, it will just be like a grass cutter over a fine field. Except there will be googly eyes on it.
True. Alright, fair enough.
I want to see that fight. It will be glorious.
Well, I'm hitching my wagon to Panic Attack. Fingers are crossed that he makes it.
What I can say quite confidently, the season's looking good.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to be tuning in this Sunday. Going to be a cracking display.
I'm going to watch it, then I'm going to watch it again, and then we're going to talk about it again.
I hope Craig Charles is looking down on us from on high and smiling. Thanks for listening, guys.
Hang on, I've got more.
You've got more?
I wanna...
Sweet Jesus, he's going off the rails, guys.
I want to talk about episode 6, the final.
Right now?
Right.
You're going to make some predictions?
I'm not going to make some predictions, I just want to hear your thoughts. Do you think that in the 5 build-up episodes, with the 5 robots going through, do you think they will add a best runner-up to make it 6 in the final, or not?
Oh.
I mean, let's be honest, 5 points is quite beatable. Behemoth is pretty much dead, but at the moment, he's alive and kicking.
I haven't seen them throw him in the scrapyard yet.
Me neither.
And nor will we.
I hope that day never comes.
He's only been dead a week and we're already coming back with the resurrection theories. Exactly. It's like Batman versus Superman all
Plus
over
Jesus.
again.
Yeah. And also, I want the final to be a gauntlet.
Oh, you mean you want the obstacle courses back?
No, I mean I want it to be 5 robots in the ring, 1 gets knocked out. 4 robots in the ring, 1 gets knocked out. 3 robots till the ultimate final. And hopefully it won't be a mechanical failure that starts that one.
You want?
Hopefully we get a good final at the end of all that. But...
Sweet Jesus, man. I know that might have worked in the earlier seasons, but Carbide's one of those robots.
So?
You want someone to go 5 rounds against that?
Yes.
Good.
Because they would be well-worthy winners.
Yes.
If they could beat that.
And they won't.
Probably not.
Probably not.
I mean, we've not seen the rest of the robots. Anything's possible.
If that is a good indicator for the season,
if that's where the power level is,
we're getting some scary robots and a lot of dead cannon fodder. R.I.P. Bonk. You did your best.
Oh, Bonk. So yeah, excited for the final. Can anyone stop Carbide?
We're gonna find out, man.
We are gonna find out. Prediction? Probably not.
Prediction? Definitely not. The only person that can defeat Carbide right now, I've noticed I'm slipping into personifying Carbide now.
That's exactly what you're meant to do.
He's become more than a robot to me. He's a winner. He's a champion. Nay, a god amongst machines and men. The only person that can defeat him is himself right now.
Ooh, that's kind of deep, man. Thanks for sitting in this car, man.
It's been a very comfortable car. Thanks for letting me.
Good job we opened the doors.
Man,
I don't know how we would have survived.
Jesus, thanks for that. The clean air in here has been great. I don't even think the background noise has been that bad. Granted, I haven't listened to this, nor will I be editing it. Ha ha! Ha ha! Coasting along.
That's alright, man.
I wrote notes this time. I'm definitely
Bye, guys. What was that?
I don't know. Can we do that one again?
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Hey, guys. No, wrong.
You're getting one more. Bye, guys.
See you later, guys.
Cool.